perfect skin but want that glass-like, glossy, lightweight but full coverage foundation, then this video is for you. This is my first video, so please be easy on me. First, I'm going to start by spraying my face with this rose water facial toner from Trader Joe's. You can use any sort of spray that you have. This one's pretty cheap. Definitely recommend rose water if you have it. And this just helps hydrate your skin and really create that glossy look peeking through underneath your foundation. Next, I'm going to mix two different foundations. And this might seem a little extra, but I think that this is great for two reasons. This lets me mix a dewier, lightweight foundation that basically looks like skin with a more full coverage foundation that will actually help cover up any dark spots that I have, pigmentation, acne, redness from rosacea, but it still will look like skin because I'm mixing it with that lighter weight, dewier foundation. I mix these on the back of my hand until I get the perfect shade. I gently put on about half of that foundation mixture and blend it out with a beauty sponge. I do half at once and then blend it out, and then I see where I need a little bit more coverage, and then I go back in with the rest and build it up. I prefer to do two thin layers rather than putting it all on at once because this helps keep my skin looking like skin and provides a nice lightweight coverage while still actually covering what I needed to. I also use a beauty sponge rather than a brush because it helps sheer out the foundation and give your skin an extra natural look. Don't forget to get the tops of your eyes and also drag your foundation down your neck. Even if it's a perfect match, this can help make sure your makeup looks absolutely seamless. I wanted to show you my skin up close to show you how doing two thin layers and using two different kinds of foundation along with the mist that I used at the beginning and a beauty sponge can give you this very natural glass-like glossy look. Next, I'm going in with just a little bit of concealer underneath my eyes. This helps cancel out any darkness and just make my face look overall brighter and make myself look more awake. And notice how I'm not doing a humongous triangle underneath my eyes. Just a little bit is enough, and once you blend it out, it'll cover everything you need it to cover. I take whatever's left on my sponge and I blend it out around my eyes and a little bit around my mouth. I like to go in with a cream bronzer to help contour and bronze up my face. I do add a powder bronzer at the end, but I definitely like to start with a cream bronzer because it looks so natural and will stay on longer throughout the day. I place this on my cheeks in an upward motion using a stippling brush. This one's from Colourpop and works really well to blend out cream products. And notice how I'm going up and not out. If you bring your contour or bronzer directly out, it can make your face look wider, versus bringing it up helps give your face a nice and lifted look. I gently blend that out, especially focusing on the edges to make sure that it looks absolutely seamless. Next, I'm going in with this Glossier Cloud Paint for a little bit of cream blush. This is in the shade Dusk, and I really like this cloud paint because it looks good no matter what look I'm doing, and it also adds a nice glossiness to the cheeks. Because I'm not using a highlight in this look, no powder highlight, no cream highlight, yet I still end up with a nice glossiness at the tops of my cheekbones. And I think that's one in part due to the rose water spray I use at the beginning and at the end, and also because of this blush. I gently blend that out with a stippling brush, really focusing on the edges just like I did before with the cream bronzer. Once I've added all my cream products, I like to go back in with my beauty sponge to blend it out one more time to make sure everything looks absolutely seamless. Even though I have dry skin, I still like to set my face with a powder. This is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Powder. It's super light, doesn't cake up my foundation, and it maintains the color underneath, so it's not going to turn orange, it's not going to make my face look any more white. It just keeps what I have underneath and sets it so that way it stays throughout the day and won't smudge or move about if I accidentally touch my face or if I wear a mask. make sure to gently powder the tops of my eyelids to prevent any creasing and get them ready for eyeshadow. Without any extra product, I take my brush and I go over my cheeks where I have my cream bronzer and blush. I do this to make sure the colors stay vibrant and also stay glossy. Most people have their own way of doing their eyebrows, but I thought I would include mine just in case anyone was curious. I just brush through them with a spoolie and then fill them in with this dark eyeshadow powder. I use gentle strokes and really focus on the bottom half of my brow and the arch to make them look full and defined. I also avoid putting eyeshadow in this area to help keep my brows looking natural and like I haven't really done anything to them. Once I'm done filling in my brows, I like to go back in with my spoolie one last time just to blend it all out and make sure it looks natural. For my eyeshadow, I'm doing a soft, natural pink look. To start, I'm just using a light brown shadow in my crease, blending it out with a fluffy brush, and going back in with a slightly darker color, focusing on the outer part of my eye. When using darker colors, I like to place them down and then take a step back and look and see where I place them to make sure I'm putting it in the right location. If I have too much product on my brush, I just rub it on the back of my hand or on a towel, and then go back in and blend it out to make sure the edges are seamless. Next, with a smaller, tapered pencil brush, I'm going in with this dark, mauve-y kind of pink color, just in the outer part of my eye, and again, placing it, looking at where I placed it, going back in and blending it out, really focusing on that outer V part of my eye. I'm going back in with that big fluffy brush that we started with to blend out the edges and make sure that the eyeshadow is blended seamlessly into my eyelid. Honestly, in my opinion, the key to natural makeup is blending no matter what step of the makeup process that you're on. And if you feel like you blended too much, you can always go back in and add a little bit more of that darker powder or mid-tone brown powder just to brighten it back up. Next, I'm adding this soft pink shimmery shade down the center of my lid just with my fingers because I think it gives a really great color payoff, and then dragging that into my inner tear duct. And then of course, going back in with my fluffy brush to blend it all out. I decided after I added the shimmer shade that I wanted this look to be just a little bit more smoky, so I went back in with that dark brown kind of mauve color in the outer V. To top it all off, I like to add this sparkly eyeshadow topper from this Dose of Colors palette. This just adds an extra sparkle to the eyes on top of whatever eyeshadow you put underneath. Using a small shader brush, I'm going back in with the first brown shade that we used underneath my eyes. This helps tie the look together and make it look just a little extra smoky. Instead of using an eyeliner, I like to add just a little bit of black eyeshadow close to my lash line and then smudge it out with my finger. Next, I'm adding just a little bit of highlight to the tops of my brow bones and also the inner corners of my eyes. This is one of my favorite steps of doing my makeup because it looks so beautiful when it catches the light. I also like to drag just a little bit of that highlight shade down my nose. Like I mentioned earlier, I do like to go back in with a powder bronzer on top of that cream bronzer that we already used. This just helps the color stay in place all day long and can also help add a little bit of color that I feel like might be missing from when I just did the cream bronzer earlier. This is especially useful if you do a smoky eye because after I finish doing my eyes, I sometimes like to go back and just add a little bit more color to the cheeks to balance it all out. I also like to add a little bit of bronzer down my neck. No matter how perfectly I match my foundation to my face, I feel like my neck will always look like Casper the Ghost, so just like to bronze that up a little bit. I also like to add just a little bit of bronzer down the sides of my nose. I don't use a fancy brush for this, I literally just pinch my bronzer brush and take a little bit down the sides, blend it out, nice and natural, snatched. To no surprise, I'm going back in with the original powder brush that we used to just blend it all out. I'm also adding just a light flush of blush using the soft pink shade, adding it to the tops of my cheekbones and kind of on top of my bronzer, rather than close to my nose just because I think it looks more flattering. And then spritzing my face with a generous coat of that rose water spray we used at the beginning. I love this step because it helps my skin look extra glossy and takes away any powdery look that I may have. Here I'm just setting my eyebrows with this clear eyebrow gel I got from Sephora, super cheap, highly recommend. And then the finishing touch to any look, mascara. For my lips, I'm not too picky, I just like to use any sort of soft pink shade. This is a ColourPop Ultra Blotted Lip, and then I top it off with the Fenty Gloss Bomb in Fussy. This is like one of my favorite products of all time, no other gloss will top it. Just look for yourself. It's super glossy. Honestly, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you at least picked up one tip or trick that can help you make your makeup look more natural and seamless. I know I said those words a million times in this video, so hope you enjoyed.